Welcome to Hotter Than Ever, where we uncover the unconscious rules we've been following, we break those rules, and we find a new path to being freer, happier, sexier, and more self-expressed. I'm your host, Erin Keating. Today I want to talk about the movie The Idea of You, which is on Amazon Prime. Everyone keeps asking me if I have seen this film. And there is a good reason why. It is because it is about an older woman and a younger man. And so infrequently out there in Hollywood land are these kinds of stories ever told. The Idea of You is co-written by Jennifer Westfeldt and Michael Showalter, and it's directed by Michael Showalter. This is not a Hollywood podcast, but I'm going to give you a little bit of context on who these people are and why they bring such empathy and realness to this confection. So Jennifer Westfeldt wrote and starred in the movie Kissing Jessica Stein in 2001. She also wrote and starred in the movie Friends with Kids in 2011. So she has a bit of a rom-com pedigree, but also she's telling stories that reflect moments in her life as a woman evolving across the decades. And I am so grateful that she is still making a movie at least every 10 years, which God knows is an incredibly hard thing to pull off. Her movies have this texture of realness and of comedy and of pathos that I really, really enjoy. She wrote this movie with Michael Showalter. Now, Showalter I have loved since his sketch comedy days in The State and Stella and Wet Hot American Summer. I don't know if this is a genre that you are familiar with, but I have loved him since he was a goofy sketch comedy person, and he has blossomed into a really sensitive and empathetic indie film director. He directed the film The Big Sick, which is based on the real-life love story of comedian Kumail Nanjiani and his wife, the writer Emily V. Gordon, which was also produced by Judd Apatow. So it was a pedigree up the wazoo, and it is a gorgeous love story that is very human and very emotional and very true. Now, is this movie very true? No, it's a little bit more of a Hollywood fantasy. But it stars Anne Hathaway, who is so beautiful and so ageless, and literally the same girl I fell in love with in The Devil Wears Prada, which I just watched with my daughter for the first time. And this beautiful creature named Nicholas Galitzine. Galitzine. How do you say it? Galitzine. I don't need to say it. I just need to look at his fucking beautiful face. Wow, what a gorgeous guy he is. And the two of them together have like sizzling chemistry, which is the thing that makes a rom-com succeed or fail, right? So if you do not know the plot of this film, Anne Hathaway is turning 40. Now, she looks 28. She looks like Anne Hathaway. So that is to say she looks like a movie star. But she is meant to be an art gallery owner in Silver Lake in Los Angeles, living kind of a funky life with a shitty ex-husband, having been betrayed. And she's hurt, but she's getting over it. And she has a wonderful relationship with her teenage daughter. And her dumb ex is supposed to be taking the daughter to Coachella. The dumb ex, her dumb ex is supposed to be taking her daughter and her daughter's friends to Coachella, but he bails for work, which seems to be a pattern for him. And he has bought her these fancy VIP tickets to go to a meet and greet for a boy band that she is no longer interested in. And I relate to this. Like the second you get tickets to a cool thing, like my daughter's going to see Olivia Rodrigo. She's totally already over Olivia Rodrigo. The daughter says this band, August Moon, is that right? The daughter says this band that Nicholas Galatzin's character is the lead singer of is so 7th grade. So Anne Hathaway is stuck rescheduling her life. I have not committed the character names to memory. I don't think they're important. She's stuck taking care of the daughter and the daughter's friends at Coachella, and she's like, whatever, not impressed. So there's this meet cute where Anne chats with this impossibly hot 24-year-old who turns out to be the lead singer of the band. And during the performance, he sings to her. They part. He comes to find her and buys out everything in her art gallery. Sorry, I don't believe in spoilers. I don't remember plot. But if you don't want spoilers, please stop listening to this episode right now. A whirlwind romance ensues when her daughter goes to sleepaway camp for the summer. Now, those of us with kids who go to sleepaway camp know that when the kids are away, the moms will play. And this romance is so sexy and fun, such total wish fulfillment for middle-aged moms. It was just so fun. And their initial hookup starts with them making out and him touching her in all the right places. Thank God for representations of real sex on screen, except she's so tiny, he keeps like picking her up. Okay, that's not really real for most of us. Anyway, they have this great adventure. She's got to go home. He wants her to come on the European tour. She has the time. She does. It's amazing until it's not. Shit goes wrong. And she becomes convinced that despite all their vulnerability and despite all the tenderness and touching and hot sex and adventures they have together, the pure romance, the romance of the togetherness, she gets convinced that it's all been fake. And, you know, she's within her rights to think that, because this is a young guy gallivanting around the world, and this has been really a fantasy, and she's a regular, real person, other than the fact that she's Anne Hathaway and a movie star and living in a fantasy version of Los Angeles. A hipster fantasy version of Los Angeles. Anyway, they try again in LA. They give it an earnest shot. The paparazzi ruins everything. It starts to fuck up her kid's life. They call it off. I'm not going to ruin the ending for you. I am not a bad person. I am not going to ruin the tacked on Hollywood ending that I enjoyed so much. I will just say that some people expected me to hate this movie because it is a trifle, right? Because it is a fantasy, because these people are such eye candy. But part of the reason movies are movies and movie stars are movie stars is because they paint a picture of scenarios and lives that can only really live in our dreams, right? In reality, older women fall in love with younger men all the time. In reality, people don't look like these two people. But in reality, you can also have amazing chemistry and fall in love and have incredible romance. You know, one of the reasons this works is because Nicholas Galitzine is young, but he's kind of man-sized. And she's so small, it makes him look big. And he has some cool tattoos. He's not like a wafy boy band or K-pop star. Like, you could actually imagine grabbing onto him, you know? Also, they bond over homemade sandwiches, and they're vulnerable and gun-shy and wounded, just like all of us. The thing I love most about this movie is that feeling, and this has happened to me since my divorce, that feeling of when you actually let your heart lead you, that's real. And when you give in to falling in love, that happens. And when your boyfriend is younger and impossibly hot and you can't stop touching him, That's something that can happen to you. Yes, of course, it's a Hollywood fantasy. But in the movies of Jennifer Westfeldt and Michael Showalter and their ilk, they do bring a realness and a humanity and a tenderness and a truth, an emotional truth that plays as real. And I was really affected by this movie. I was really emotional at the end. What if we get what we want? What if we get a second chance or a third chance or a fourth chance? What if we're scared and we do it anyway? You know, if I had made this movie, the woman would have been more imperfect looking. She would have been older. He would still be the same. He would still be as hot and romantic and gorgeous. He would still sing songs to the leading lady. But I would make her just a little less Anne Hathaway. Watching The Idea of You reminded me that I am not cynical. And I don't think most of us are in our heart of hearts. I think this is why we still love romance and rom-coms. I believe in love. And I like seeing older, quote unquote, older women, 40-year-olds who look like 28-year-olds, get loved up. I like seeing it. And I think it's important that these representations, however flawed, are out there in the culture. Even if it's a MILF meets boy band fantasy, which is a log line written in a Hollywood dream factory, the execution is really sweet. And the emotional truth is really grounded. And I really cared how it turned out. And it made me feel all kinds of things. Highly recommend. Thanks for listening to Hotter Than Ever. Please reach out to us with questions I will personally answer on the air in our weekly advice episode. Did this conversation about rom-coms and representation and older women and younger men spark some questions that you have about your own romantic life and fantasies? I have probably been there, and I am here to give you my very biased and totally unqualified feedback. Just DM us on Instagram at Hotter Than Ever Pod, or call and leave a voicemail, or text your question to the Hotter Than Ever Hottie hotline at 323-844-2303. I would love to answer your question in a future episode. Hotter Than Ever is produced by Erica Gerard and Podkit Productions. Our associate producer is Melody Carey. Music is by Chris Keating, with vocals by Isa Fernandez. I am wishing you a rom-com storyline of your own. I hope all your romantic dreams and fantasies come true.